2 people, including a firefighter, have been injured in an industrial fire near Eglinton and Laird. We'll take you live to the scene coming up in moments.
Well, new details emerging in the sexual assault case against Canadian businessman and billionaire Frank Stronach.
And Taste of Little Italy, that kicks off tonight. It's going to be a busy weekend in the city. We'll run down the list of weekend events and road closures.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Phil Perkins.
And I'm Lena Latifat. Thank you for joining us. Our top story this hour, emergency crews are still on the scene of a 3-alarm industrial fire in the Eglinton and Laird area that injured 1 person.
Yeah, let's go live now to CP24's Melissa Duggan on Commercial Road. Melissa, what do we know so far?
Phil, some new information to bring you. The fire now considered under control, but that doesn't mean that work here is done. Hotspots still being put out. Certainly an active scene with plenty of firefighters still working here at the moment. I can tell you, in the air, it smells like wet, charred wood. It is hanging heavy right now. Some other information we've just been getting in just the last little while, learning that a firefighter was taken to hospital. That's due to heat-related issues. You know, when this fire was really working and there were dozens of firefighters on scene, they were taking breaks, going in at the job and then taking time to sit down, have some water in the shade because temperatures were scorching around here at the time. At the moment, a couple hours ago too, when I was talking to the platoon chief, he was telling me, yeah, about 20 firefighters at that time had seen attention from paramedics just to make sure they were okay. Since then, 1 firefighter taken to hospital. We do know that another person was also taken to hospital. This is earlier on as well. An adult male with severe non-life-threatening injuries. As for the challenge that firefighters face here, again, we mentioned that warm weather. It was more than that as well. Here's what fire officials are telling us.
Wind is a factor. The west side of the building is opened up, so it was a bit of a wind-driven fire on initial, which also assisted with our firefighting. Once we set up our firefighting appliances, the wind did help us with that. So our investigators have been notified, and they'll assist our first-in crews with the origin, cause, and circumstance of this.
Ministry of Labor is on the scene. Firefighters expected to be on 24-hour fire watch as well, just to make sure that all those hotspots have been put out. No word yet on what may have sparked this blaze. That's going to be part of the investigation. Still more work to be done here. That's the latest. Again, this is Commercial Road, just south of Eglinton, off of Laird. A busy scene here still. Back to you, Lena and Phil.
Yeah, still busy. So many hours later. Melissa Duggan all over that story. Thank you, Melissa. 5:03, 23 degrees. Let's switch gears now. Get a check on that evening commute. Adjoa and Siayagwa keeping a close eye on that.
I am, Lena, and yeah, if you're headed out, it's going to take you a while, in particular if you're on the northbound lanes of the 400. This is just as you make your way on the approach to Shepherd. Crews on scene of a vehicle fire cleanup. Does have the 2 right lanes blocked again. Delays extend from the 401. Then if you're on the 401 on the eastbound 401 exit ramp to Nielsen, because of the stalled truck, the right lane is occupied. Brand new problems coming into the traffic desk. This is on the southbound 410 south of Courtney Park. Collision involving a truck as well and a couple of other vehicles in the 2 right lanes, and also problems that are about to clear. Toronto bound QEW just past Guelph line. We had problems in the right lane, but problems persist further east on the QEW Toronto bound. This is east of Dixie. Heads up for a collision that is blocking the right lane. On city streets, we saw this collision in Scarborough and Brimley and Huntingwood. I'll send it back to you.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Let's talk about a different kind of traffic right now on the water. Sunny, warm weekend ahead of us and a potential for long lineups to get to the Toronto Islands where a dragon boat festival being held.
It's because only 3 of the city's 5 ferries are in operation. 2 of them, the Thomas Rennie and the Trillium, are undergoing repairs. They are expected to get back in service in the coming weeks. The city says it's adjusted its trip schedule to increase the frequency of boat visits to the busiest island dock after 6 p.m.
And there will be no subway service as well this weekend and a portion of Line 2.
The TTC says shuttle buses will run between Kipling and Islington on Saturday and Sunday. This is due to planned track work. Regular service resumes Monday at 6 a.m.
And starting tonight, At 11 on the Lakeshore West GO Line, trains will run hourly between Union and Oakville. Buses will replace trains between Oakville and West Harbour and Hamilton, while there will be no service at Appleby and Bronte. Regular service will be back on Monday.
Well, the opposition is slamming the Ford government for awarding nearly $1 million in contracts to support its proposal to relocate the Science Centre to Ontario Place. The Canadian Press learning today more than $925,000, so almost $1 million in contracts, has been awarded to multiple companies to write a business case for the move. Critics say the report seems designed to give the government cover for a deal with European company Therma to build a privately owned spa at Ontario Place. NDP leader Marit Stiles says spending $1 million on what she calls a sham business case is ridiculous.
I think it's outrageous that the government has spent, $1 million to concoct a business case for something that, frankly, they had already decided to do. It was always and has always been about Doug Ford making money for insider friends. It makes no sense to most people. And it's part of a pattern where the government continues to not help people, but just to help their friends.
Ridiculous expenditure of taxpayer dollars when we have a backlog in ERs, underfunded long-term care, education, climate change, the list goes on and on. Why spend that and then have the Ontario Auditor General debunk almost the entire effort? That was $1 million tossed down the drain.
I say this is an unjustifiable waste of money to try to justify an unjustifiable decision. It's outrageous that the government would waste $1 million on a business case to try to justify a decision they've already made in order to support a foreign-owned mega spa to be built on public land at Ontario Place. It's outrageous.
The current Science Centre building is facing $369 million in deferred and critical maintenance needs over the next 20 years.
It is 5:07, 23 degrees. This is Live at 5. Coming up, we'll tell you why you should be on the lookout for the double-decker scam. What is that? We'll tell you coming up.
Welcome back. We're learning more about the charges laid against Canadian businessman Frank Stronach. Peel Regional Police arrested the 91-year-old billionaire last week as part of a sexual assault investigation.
And for the new developments today, let's bring in CP24's Beatrice Faisman. Beatrice.
The new developments, Lena and Phil, is that we've obtained the court documents filed in the Brampton courthouse just 2 days ago. He was arrested, Frank Stronach was, exactly a week ago today, last Friday, and was charged by Peel Regional Police with 5 different criminal charges. Police alleging 3 different women were victimized by Mr. Stronach, and 2 of these, or 4 out of 5 of the charges, 2 of the alleged victims are historical sexual assault allegations. The 3rd victim was allegedly sexually assaulted just last year. Mr. Stronach charged with 5 different charges, as I mentioned, 2 counts of sexual assault, 1 count of rape, 1 count of indecent assault, 1 count of forcible confinement. The first alleged victim, police say, was raped by Mr. Stronach back in July of 1980. Police also charging Mr. Stronach with indecent assault in connection with that same alleged victim. The second set of charges, charges number 3 and 4, pertain to a victim who police say was sexually assaulted by Frank Stronach in February 1986, and the 3rd alleged victim sexually assaulted in April 2023. Mr. Stronach has been released on bail under his own recognizance. He's had several conditions imposed on him, including no contact with these 3 women, and he had to surrender his passport as well, Lena and Phil. This is a story that has gripped not only headlines here in this country, but across the world, because Mr. Stronach, one of the wealthiest, most well-known philanthropists here in this country, he is a billionaire. He founded Magna International, an Ontario-based automotive parts manufacturer. As for his legal defense, his criminal defense lawyer, Brian Greenspan, a high-profile lawyer at that, giving a statement to CP24 immediately after his arrest and charge last Friday. This statement saying that Mr. Stronach categorically denies the allegations of impropriety which have been brought against him. He looks forward to the opportunity to fully respond to the charges and maintain his legacy both as a philanthropist and as an icon of the Canadian business community. So Mr. Stronach, as I mentioned, out on bail. His next date in court to answer to these very serious allegations is coming up next month, July 8th in Brampton. Lena and Phil.
All right, Beatrice Baseman, thanks so much for the update throughout the day. Well, an Ontario woman is warning people to be on the lookout for a new scam. Denise Boyarian was almost charged $5,000 after receiving a MacBook at her house, which she didn't order. The scam is known as the double-decker scam and involves thieves stealing one piece of identity and one piece of financial information in order to commit fraud. She was able to bring the laptop in before anyone got it, and Costco took it back at no cost.
Then I found out it was a Mac notebook and that it was $4,900 and it had somebody else's name on it, but our address.
The thing about fraud is that in many cases, we never know how the financial information is stolen. It used to be called a dropship scam or fraud, and now they call them double-decker simply because they steal one piece of identity and one piece of financial information, and they put them together.
And joining us now with more on this concerning scam is CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. So, Steve, this is a new kind of porch pirate theft. What do you make of this?
Well, it's almost premeditated, isn't it? Where you've got the theft of identification, the theft of financial information, then you order a product. And think about it. In order for anybody to pull this sort of stunt off, you need to have surveillance on the home because you need to know when that package is going to arrive to get it. And these crooks obviously were expecting this package at a certain time because when it wasn't there, they didn't just leave. They went and knocked on the woman's door and asked for the package. So premeditation, a lot of planning, and creepy, in a creepy way, a lot of surveillance on a person's house as well.
Yeah, creepy for sure.
I still don't get it. So who's does someone just sit there in a room and just formulate these plans? Like, well, what's going on?
And they have to have her credit card information, right?
That's right. So I think the more we advance in technology, as I often say, if crooks were smart, I certainly wouldn't have been able to arrest them back in the day. But they are conniving in a certain way. They advance with technology, and every time you think you've got one part of criminality cornered, they come up with something else. So it is quite a brilliant scheme when you think about it, where you steal information, you steal identity, you order a product, but you don't put your name on it,
right,
or you don't put the victim's name on it, rather, but you put their address on it. Then you watch at the house for that product to be dropped at the door, and then you go get it. But very aggressive. If the product's not there, they then knock on the door and ask for it. Very, very aggressive behavior.
And what were they hoping would happen once she received the laptop?
Well, when they knocked on the door, according to the reports, it was an Uber driver who said that I'm here to pick up a parcel that was delivered to your address accidentally. And good thing this woman was on the ball. She went, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense, which is a lesson there for all of us. If something typically doesn't make sense, it normally doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and so what were people supposed to do? Because in our business, obviously, we talk about this every single day. We could be aware of some of these scams and kind of following the bouncy fraud ball. Well, what are regular people not in news, not in law enforcement supposed to do if they come confronted with a new type of scam?
Well, the police suggest that gone are the days where you work 9 to 5 and you pick your parcel up at the front door. You should be home or have somebody pick up that parcel for you. Check your bank accounts and your credit statements often. Keep on top of those. And if you do receive a package, and again, if it seems like it just doesn't make much sense, trust that spidey sense, that instinct, and act as if it doesn't make sense.
For sure, and this woman did the right thing by calling police. That's always what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Crime analyst Steve Ryan, thanks so much for breaking this down for us. How concerning. It is 5:15, 24 degrees. You're watching Live at 5. Coming up, advanced voting. That's now open in the Toronto St. Paul's by-election. We'll talk about the stakes coming up next.
Welcome back. Advanced voting now open for the federal by-election in Toronto St. Paul's riding.
And for more, let's go live to CP24's Lindsay Biscaya. This is a crowded race, Lindsay.
Yeah, 84 candidates, Lena and Phil. It's actually a record breaker in terms of federal elections and ridings having the most candidates. So there is a lot of choice for people in the Toronto St. Paul's region. But this, 84 candidates, obviously that's a lot. Maybe this speaks to the times right now, the political times, the turmoil maybe that people are feeling. A lot of people want change. And we're seeing that with this riding because this has been a Liberal stronghold, this riding, for a very long time, since 1997. And longtime Liberal MP Carolyn Bennett has had that seat for 26 years and just stepped back and resigned her seat in December to become Canada's ambassador to Denmark. So she is on to other things. But it really just goes to show that this used to be a very strong Liberal riding. It was almost certain to be Liberal, and now it's not as certain as it used to be. A lot of the polls showing it might not turn out Liberal after all. And we've heard from our political commentator, Scott Reed, on this, and he is echoing that maybe this won't be a Liberal outcome. But at the same time, if it's not, this isn't only bad news for the Liberal Party, the federal Liberal Party, but this is very bad news for the current Prime Minister as well, Justin Trudeau. Have a listen.
That's exactly the point. Because it is a Liberal state stronghold, and because we know where the polls are nationally for the Liberals, this takes on far greater significance than a by-election usually would. The Liberals have to show strong. They have to win this riding. And people are watching it for clues. If the Liberals underperform, if they only win by a few percentage points, if, God forbid, holy smokes, they should lose the riding, people will be wondering, what does that mean for the Prime Minister? Will he take that as a signal that maybe it's time for him to consider retirement from active politics?
So advanced polling now underway, Lena and Phil. And for those in the riding who want to figure out where those stations are, you can go to Elections Canada's website to see that. And those advanced polls, the stations rather, will be open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. until Monday. And then, of course, the big day, Election Day, is June 24th, so just later this month.
Okay, hopefully people get out there and vote. Lindsay Viscaya, live in studio. Thank you. Migration, economic security, and artificial intelligence dominated day 2 of the G7 Leaders Summit in Italy today. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and the other leaders agreed to launch a coalition designed to counter migrant smuggling by focusing on its root causes, bolstering border management, and ensuring pathways for safe and regular migration. On what is the last day of meetings, there was some disagreement over the wording of the final mandate, mostly over the wording on abortion.
And Pope Francis became the first pontiff to attend a G7 conference and focused his speech on the challenges of new technology, mostly artificial intelligence. He challenged the leaders to keep human dignity foremost in developing and using AI, warning that such powerful technology risks turning human relations themselves into mere algorithms.
And the Pope met with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on the sidelines of the G7 summit. There are some pictures from that interaction. The Prime Minister said on social media he thanked the Pontiff for taking up the work of reconciliation and also advocated for the next step in this process, which includes returning cultural artifacts to Indigenous peoples in Canada that are currently held in the Vatican's museums. That's something many in this country have been calling for.
And Prime Minister Trudeau also met with his Indian counterpart today. It was their first meeting since the Prime Minister accused the Indian government of being involved in the shooting of a Sikh activist in British Columbia. The Prime Minister's office says that Trudeau congratulated Narendra Modi on his re-election and that both leaders had a brief discussion on the Canada-India bilateral relationship.
And Ottawa announcing today that Canada will host the G7 summit in 2025. The meeting is set to be held in Alberta next June. That's where the G8 summit was held in 2002, when it was a group of 8 with Russia as a member.
All right, switching gears now. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, will make her first appearance since her cancer diagnosis.
In a statement released on X today, the Princess of Wales says she is making good progress in her fight against cancer and is expected to attend tomorrow's royal Trooping the Colour ceremony. Catherine announced back in March that she was undergoing chemotherapy for an unspecified form of cancer. For months, people were speculating, asking the question, where is Kate? Kate says she expects to face several more months of treatment.
And the statement reads in part, quote, "I have been blown away by all the kind messages of support and encouragement over the last couple of months. It really has made the world of a difference to William and me and has helped us both through some of the harder times."
522, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5. Coming up, the Jays are hosting their 5th annual Pride Night tonight. Stay with us for more.
Welcome back. Taste a Little Italy kicks off on College Street. See, I did this. I didn't even know I did this.
Yep.
And I did this. And it's one of many events happening in the city this weekend involving, of course, road closures. It's part of the experience.
It sure is. In Toronto, at least. Let's go live to CP24. Sija Liu in Little Italy with more on the experience. Hi there, Sija.
Hey there, Lena. It's just getting started right now. Started around 3 o'clock. People are still setting up, but it's getting busy here. It's one of the many festivals happening this weekend here in Little Italy. But right here on College Street, you'll have more than 200 businesses to shop and dine at. But new this year is a pasta eating contest. We spoke with Palma Pasta earlier, who will be hosting this competition. This is happening on Sunday. 10 competitors were chosen beforehand to compete in this competition. Everyone will be getting 1 kilogram of pasta. To give you an idea, a regular box of pasta has around 400 grams. So they're eating about 2 boxes plus a bit more. The first person to finish gets a $250 gift card to do nothing but eat more pasta. But that is happening on Sunday. So a lot of events for people to take in here today over the weekend. And College Street here has been shut down already from Bathurst to Shaw. For this event, it will be shut down until Monday around 3 a.m. And also happening are patios. It's a beautiful day to be out, and a lot of these businesses are playing the Euro Cup, especially the Italian matches that will be taking place this weekend. We spoke with local businesses about how excited they are to welcome more people into their restaurants. Take a listen.
We're super excited to have everybody down for Taste of Italy. We are closing down Clinton Street. We're going to have a ton of tables here and a big video wall showing the Euro Cup matches this weekend. Tomorrow, Italy, 3 o'clock is going to be very busy. Everybody should come on down. It'll be a lot of fun. We're also going to have a Spaducci tent out front. So you're going to get some Spaducci, arancini. It'll be really nice.
If you're a social butterfly, you should come maybe during the peak hours, like around 2 to 6. If you want to grab a quick meal and not have to wait in crazy lines, maybe a little earlier, a little later, but just all around the whole festival, it's great to experience everything everyone's doing here. You got the carnival games at the end, but I think the most important part and the reason for this festival is the Taste of Italy, right? It's a lot of family-owned restaurants here. We all work very hard. We're all friends with each other. We all get along. So it's great to have you guys come down to the festival and just experience what we're all about.
Well, some of the other fun activities you can take part in, including a pizza making masterclass, a live tiramisu competition, and of course lots of music on the main stage here. But as you can see, College Street is already shut down for traffic between Bathurst and Shaw all the way until Monday, 3 a.m. A few other road closures to keep in mind. There are a few charity events happening in the city. The Under Armour Toronto 10K on Saturday will shut down Lakeshore Boulevard West between Bathurst to Windermere Avenue starting early in the morning, 4 a.m. tomorrow until 11:30 a.m. And then on Sunday, there is the Journey to Concord Cancer event. This is for the Margaret Cancer Center. That will result in road closures Sunday between 8 a.m., 1 p.m. on a number of streets, including Queen's Park Crescent, College Street, Harbor Streets. But when it comes to the Taste of Little Italy here, as well as the races happening this weekend, thousands of people will be pouring into the downtown core. So Phil, Lena, it's going to be a fun weekend across the city, but also a busy one when it comes to traffic. Back to you.
Yeah, you might want to ditch the car this weekend. There's a lot going on. Sija Liu reporting live from Little Italy. Thanks so much. Have fun, Sija. The Blue Jays return home tonight to open a series against the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, the Jays had the day off yesterday after a 6-game road trip that saw them win 3 of their games. Kevin Gausman gets a start tonight. The Jays are also hosting their 5th annual Pride Night tonight. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Jays Rainbow Rope corduroy hat. There'll be other festivities, pre-game live performances, and themed activities and concessions throughout the ballpark.
529, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5. 2 people, including a firefighter, have been injured in an industrial blaze near Eglinton and Laird. We'll leave you with a live look of the aftermath. Stay with us.
2 people, including a firefighter, have been injured in an industrial fire near Eglinton and Laird.
And we'll take you live to that scene in moments. New details emerge in the sexual assault case against Canadian businessman and billionaire Frank Stronach.
And maybe the best street festival this year. Taste Little Italy kicks off. It is the best tasting. It's going to be a busy weekend in the city with that and also road closures.
This is Live at 5. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Alina Ladifat.
I'm Phil Perkins. Thanks for watching. Our top story: emergency crews are still on the scene of a 3-alarm industrial blaze in the Eglinton and Laird area that's injured a couple people.
Let's go live now to CP24's Melissa Duggan on Commercial Road. You've been there for hours now. keeping a really close eye on any developments. What is the latest, Melissa?
Yeah, Lena, I want to show you something we haven't had a chance to show you just yet. Our camera operator is going to zoom into the scene. Now, right next to the building that was ablaze earlier is a vehicle, a large SUV, charred, its windows smashed. It's unclear how this is related to the fire. I did put a question out to fire officials earlier because witnesses said they had heard an explosion, that they saw those windows smashed, but it's unclear how it's connected to the fire right now. I want to tell you how this all started, too. Just after noon today, around 12:10, is when crews got the call to arrive on the scene. At that time, it was a working fire. Started off as 2-alarm, quickly upgraded to a 3-alarm fire. We saw firefighters battling it from different angles, from the side, on the roof. At one point, they had to cut into the building, and they're actually peeling off these metal corrugated sheets that line the building, also cutting into the roof as well, just giving them more access to the fire. Lots of things that crews had to also contend with as well. The wind, the hot weather. Here's what Platoon Chief Paul O'Brien had to tell me.
Some of the challenges that the crews did face were the intense heat of the fire on the west side, the heavy smoke conditions, and the atmospheric temperature today isn't helping with the crews. We're starting to rotate our crews out right now in a work cycle, bring fresh crews in, and continue with this heat cycle that we're dealing with.
So 2 people taken to hospital. The first person, this is earlier in the day, a male with severe but non-life-threatening injuries. And then later on, dealing with this heat, a firefighter also taken to hospital with heat-related issues. Several firefighters had to seek attention from paramedics here just as a precaution. Because it is so hot, they were given a chance to sit in the shade, have some water, cool off before going back to work here. And it really makes you think, Lena and Phil, as well. You know, we've got this heat wave coming our way. We've got first responders that are going to have to still be working through all of that. Very challenging conditions for them. Back to you.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely have to have the resource truck with them when this strikes. Thank you so much, Melissa. I appreciate it. Well, court documents obtained by CP24 giving us a new insight into the criminal allegations against Canadian businessman Frank Stronach.
The charges laid against 91-year-old Stronach involved 3 women who police allege were victimized in 1980, 1986, and 2023. He is facing 5 charges in total, including rape, indecent assault, forcible confinement, and 2 counts of sexual assault.
Stronach was arrested and charged by Peel Police last Friday. He's been released on bail with conditions. The billionaire's lawyer telling CP24 he categorically denies the allegations that have been brought against him. His next court date is scheduled for July 8th in Brampton.
Well, it's going to be a really nice weekend.
Yeah.
It'll be really sunny, really warm. And with that, there is a potential for long lineups to get to the Toronto Islands, where a dragon boat festival is being held.
Yeah, the water, very refreshing. But this is why there's delays. Only 3 out of the 5 ferries are working. 2 of them, the Thomas Rennie and the Trillium, are undergoing repairs. They're expected to be back in service in the next couple of weeks. The city says it has adjusted its trip schedule to increase the frequency of boat visits to the busiest island dock after 6 p.m.
And there will be no subway service this weekend on a portion of Line 2. Here's what you need to know about that. The TTC says shuttle buses will run between Kipling and Islington on Saturday and Sunday. This is because of planned track work. Regular service resumes Monday at 6 a.m.
And starting tonight at 11 on the Lakeshore West GO line, trains will run hourly between Union and Oakville. Buses will replace trains between Oakville and West Harbour and Hamilton, while there will be no service at Appleby and Bronte. Regular service will be back Monday morning.
5:36, 24 degrees, lots going on this weekend. Let's get a check on traffic with traffic specialist Adjoa and Siayabwa. I'm sure it's a really busy drive home.
It is, Lena. And yeah, you know, we are dealing with a lot of problems as well if you're trying to make your way home. This is a cleanup of an ongoing vehicle fire. It looks like it might be about to clear, at least the lane will, at least. But right now, this is the northbound 400, just on the approach to Shepherd. 2 right lanes blocked. The vehicle that was on fire is off to the side now, so that's a little bit of good news. Headed towards the 401 on the eastbound side at the end of the on-ramp from Winston Churchill. Crews dealing with the collision there. It's in the 2 right lanes. And then further east on the 401, the exit ramp to Markham Road. Still transport truck blocking the right lane of the ramp. We are still dealing with problems on the southbound 410 south of Courtney Park. It is a collision blocking the two right lanes. And you know what? I'm going to leave you with some good news. You had some problems on the QBW Toronto bound through Dixie. Collision was tying up the two right lanes. And you know what? Those problems just cleared. I'll send it back to you.
All right, perfect timing. Thanks so much, Adra.
You're welcome.
Well, the opposition is slamming the Ford government for awarding nearly $1 million in contracts to support its proposal to relocate the Science Centre to Ontario Place. The Canadian press has learned that more than $925,000 in contracts has been awarded to multiple companies to write a business case for the move. Critics say that the report seems designed to give the government cover for a deal with the European company Therma to build that privately owned spa at Ontario Place. NDP leader Mert Stiles says that spending $1 million on what she calls a sham business case is ridiculous.
The Science Centre is an asset of the people of Ontario. If you live in a home or an apartment or have a business, you maintain that asset. Infrastructure Ontario is purposely letting the asset decline to create this crisis. It's almost like a demo eviction. It's like, okay, it's not safe anymore. Let's kick everybody out and move it.
The government had made this decision based on what we don't know, because nobody was begging for a private luxury spa in downtown Toronto. But I think that they had decided to do this for whatever reasons, and they concocted the business case after the fact. And I think that's really clear here again.
The Auditor General called the government out for having no business case to move the Science Centre to Ontario Place. So what did the government do? They went out and spent $1 million of your tax dollars to try to build a case to justify an unjustifiable decision that they already made. This is outrageous. It's a waste of money. And the people of Ontario, they want the Science Centre to be revitalized where it currently exists. And they want Ontario Place to be public land that's used for public purposes, not a privately owned mega spa.
The current Science Centre building is facing $369 million in deferred and critical maintenance needs over the next 20 years.
Well, a historic moment before sunrise this morning over the Detroit River.
Iron workers install the final two edge girders for the deck of the Gordie Howe Bridge connecting Canada and the U.S. between Windsor and Detroit. They're getting closer.
Yep.
There's still work to do on the $6.4 billion structure, which is the longest cable-stayed bridge in North America. It will open to vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians late next year.
Wow, that'll be very popular on social media, no doubt. All right, it's 5:39. Feeling like 26 outside. You're watching Toronto's Breaking News, CP24. Coming up, we'll tell you why you should be on the lookout for the double-decker scam. It's intricate.
An Ontario woman is warning people to be on the lookout for a new scam. Denise Bayerjean was almost charged $5,000 after receiving a MacBook at her house, which she did not order. The scam is known as the double-decker scam and involves thieves stealing one piece of identity and one piece of financial information to commit fraud. She was able to bring the laptop in before anyone got it, and Costco took it back at no cost. She also called police.
Then I found out it was a Mac notebook, and that it was $4,900, and it had somebody else's name on it, but our address.
The thing about fraud is that in many cases, we never know how the financial information is stolen. It used to be called a dropship scam or fraud, and now they call them double-decker simply because they steal one piece of identity and one piece of financial information, and they put them together.
Okay, so she called police. Yeah. We're calling our ex-police officer, Steve Ryan here. Okay, let's map this out again. What happens with this scam? Because it's kind of, it's, as we said, it's kind of, unfortunately, genius. But like,
it is intricate.
What's happening here?
You have somebody who steals personal information, steals credit card information, the same person, orders a product online, a computer from Costco, gives the address of the victim. Then they stake out that house and wait for that product to be dropped off. And typically, they would just take it from the porch. In this particular case, the victim, the woman who saw the package, brought it into her house. Now, you'd think that these crooks would then just say, we're on to the next one. They actually knocked on her door or made arrangements for somebody to knock on her door and ask for the package, which caused her to be suspicious, and she called the police.
This is brazen for so many reasons, that knocking on the door, the confronting the woman, but also the fact that they were watching this woman in her home for, I'm assuming, days.
Incredible violation when you think about that, when you have somebody outside of your home watching in anticipation of a package arriving at your front door so they can take it, and then having the nerve to knock on the door when that package is not there. It is a violation. As I said to you last half hour, it's very, very creepy to me.
Yeah, it is.
So I was saying last half hour, in this business, we follow the fraud ball all the time. We kind of understand, this is the new thing.
Right.
So people watching now, potentially, what is something they can do to prevent this? I said before off camera, should people start mailing things to the post office and pick it up there?
Well, the reality is that we all shop online and get things delivered to our houses. So the police are recommending that the days of working 9 to 5, coming home and looking forward to that package on your front porch are gone, because if nobody's making arrangements to order that to your house to steal it, they're going to steal it if they see it there. So the police are suggesting that you have somebody at home to retrieve that package and not wait until you get home. And they are suggesting, too, that you keep an eye on your bank accounts and your credit cards to keep a check on those to make sure that nothing is being taken out of your accounts that you're not aware of.
So Phil and I were talking about our parents. Phil was talking about his mom. I was talking about my dad. It's very easy for someone who's older to fall into this trap, isn't it, Steve?
Well, it certainly is. And most of these scam artists prey on the vulnerable. And luckily, this woman was not one of those people. But as you said, it's very easy to go, oh, yeah, it's a mistake.
Right.
Here you go. And then off you go with the product. So if, we say this all the time, trust your spidey sense. If you think something is odd, if you're coming to my door and I think something's off here, trust that. And then don't engage and call the police.
CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan with excellent advice as always. Thank you, Steve.
Sure.
Thanks, Steve. All right, well, advanced voting now open for the federal by-election in the Toronto-St. Paul riding.
And for more on this, let's go live to CP24's Lindsay Biscaya. Everybody's paying attention to this race. The Liberals are for sure, Lindsay.
Yeah, definitely, because this is a real Liberal stronghold. Toronto St. Paul's, we've had that longtime Liberal candidate, Carolyn Bennett. She's been the Liberal MP for this riding for 26 years. So this is going to be the first time in 26 years that this may shift. And a lot of experts are saying, the Liberals are still in the lead, but not as much as they once were. This used to be very safe, very secure. It was almost certain it was going to be a Liberal riding. Now, not so much. We've seen the Prime Minister and a number of other cabinet ministers dropping in to the riding to campaign over the last couple of weeks, obviously feeling the pressure, feeling the stress there. And we're looking at images of Carolyn Bennett there. She resigned in December to become Canada's ambassador to Denmark after that long stint as MP for Toronto St. Paul's. So we're watching this riding extremely closely. A lot of political commentators also, including Scott Reid, saying that, it doesn't seem as certain that this will be a Liberal outcome, but he still feels that the Liberals do have a very good chance of winning this race on June 24th. Here's more.
If you look at the national polls and they try to extrapolate them with models, the betting is that the Liberals will win the riding by a more narrow margin than the past, but that they should still win. That's the safe bet. It would be quite a prediction for the Liberals to lose this riding. Talking with the Liberals in the riding, they feel they have advantages in this way. They've got a strong infrastructure that's been in place for many, many years under Carolyn Bennett. It's added to by Leslie Church, who's the candidate there, has been working the riding, not for weeks, for months. She left her job and came down here and dedicated herself full time to door knocking and organizing, and they've got ID'd Liberal voters.
So there is a record-breaking 84 candidates on the ballot this time around to choose from. And Lena and Phil, as I mentioned, advanced polls now open until Monday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. And if you do want to find where your station is around you can go to Elections Canada's website to figure that out. And then, of course, Election Day is on June 24th. Back to you.
All right, Elizabeth Biscaya, thanks so much. Getting the pulse of that election. Thank you. It is 5:48, feeling like 26. Watching live at 5. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, will make her first appearance since her cancer diagnosis. We'll have an update on her health.
Well, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, will make her first appearance since her cancer diagnosis.
Yeah, it's a good sign. A statement released on X, the Princess of Wales says that she is, quote, making good progress in her fight against cancer and is expected to attend tomorrow's Royal Trooping the Colour ceremony. Kate announced back in March that she was undergoing chemotherapy for an unspecified form of cancer. Kate says that she expects to face several more months of treatment.
And a statement that she released today says, in part, I've been blown away by all the kind messages of support and encouragement over the last couple of months. It really has made the world of a difference to William and me and has helped us both through some of the harder times.
All right, switching gears now. If you're annoyed with the Meta AI feature on Facebook and Instagram, the tech company has bad news for you.
Yeah, spokesperson says the feature, which works like a chatbot where users can search for information like recipes or web pages, cannot be disabled. Meta says users can ask the AI to reset itself, which will delete a copy of your messages from its memory and prevent it from using prior information you supplied to shape what it sends you.
I just avoid it, personally.
Good
All right.
plan.
Yeah. All right, switching gears again. Orange juice prices expected to be on the rise due to extreme weather conditions and disease.
Not the OJ. Brazil, and the world's largest exporter of orange juice, is expected to face its worst harvest in 36 years. Flooding and drought, the culprit there, an incurable bacterial infection known as citrus greening is also causing orange shortages in Florida. Juice manufacturers worldwide, like Cold Press, that's a British juice company, have already shifted to using alternatives to oranges in their products. I love orange juice, so this is devastating.
Yeah, got to switch to pineapple juice or something. It is 5:53, feeling like 26. You're watching Charles Breaking News, CP24. Taste Little Italy.
Well, Taste of Little Italy kicks off tonight on College Street, and it's one of many events happening in the city this weekend involving road closures. I can almost smell the pasta.
Yeah, so much garlic as well. I'm all about that, and so much footy. CP24's CJ Lou is in Little Italy right now. I know you and cameraman Tim. I know Tim loves to eat, and so I'm very excited. You have the best assignment of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you can smell the pasta, and hopefully soon we can taste the pasta. But the festival is well underway here. It started around 3 p.m. and right now people are strolling, trying to pick out a great spot to eat on a Friday night. But anyone coming down here will have over 200 local businesses to shop and dine at. If you're a fan of soccer, the Euro Cup is going on. You can watch the game, watch the eat some food, watch the soccer game. On top of all the food, there are a lot of fun activities, including pizza making master classes, a live tiramisu competition, and new this year is a pasta eating competition. So you can put your money where your mouth is, or as they would say, where the marinara is. That is happening Sunday at 12:30 on the main stage. There are 10 competitors that have already been chosen. Each will be given a kilogram of pasta. If you don't know how much that is, that's just over 2 full boxes of pasta. They'll be eating this, and whoever finishes first will win a $250 gift card to Palma Pasta, so they can eat some more pasta on their time off. We spoke with the owner, Anthony Petrucci, about what you can expect with this competition. Take a listen.
Last year was our first event, and it was a smash hit. It was a lot of people, especially with Euro going on. I think it's going to be even busier this year. And the event, the main stage, they have a ton of good acts that come down there. We're just going to go in front of some of the acts on Sunday, so it should be a really fun day.
And the main stage tonight will start kicking things off around 7 p.m., so you can expect the atmosphere to become a bit more lively into the evening. But right now, College Street is closed between Bathurst and Shaw from now until Monday at 3 a.m. And tomorrow, a road closure to keep in mind is Lakeshore Boulevard West will be closed from Bathurst Street to Windermere Avenue between 4 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. This is for the Under Armour Toronto 10K. And another event on Sunday, raising money to help end cancer. The Journey to Conquer Cancer will close some streets in the city as well. But as for Taste of Italy, things are starting to get busy, and it smells and feels good here. Back to you guys.
All right, the party's getting started.
Oh, yeah, big time. All right, okay, well, there's another party. Euro Cup kicked off today with host Germany dominating Scotland in the first match.
Still delivers a pinpoint pass. Space for Fiat! What a save, but it's in off the
onto it.
Germany scored 10 minutes into the game and rolled to a 5-1 victory in Munich. Scotland played the second half shorthanded after Ryan Porteous received a red card and was sent off. The only negative for Germany was an own goal in the 87th minute. The tournament features 24 teams divided into 6 groups of 4 teams each.
Can't wait. It's coming home. All right. It is 5:59, 24 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
And thank you for joining us. CTV News at 6 is coming up. It's going to be a really busy weekend. Little Italy, Taste of Little Italy is on. Have fun and be safe. Thanks for watching.
Italy kicking off tonight. We are live there. How much pasta does Sija have? We'll let you know.